Welcome, dirty peasants, to episode 7 of the Wartwood Gazette podcast. This week we'll be covering Amphibia Season 2, Episode 20, True Colors, the Season 2 finale. I'm your host, Thumbaticon. This week join me today, we have King of the Uzbeks.
He's not here.
Oh, right. He's on his way.
Yeah. Online, bro. Even offline.
Also joining us today, we have Lemur.
Hello, everyone.
And we also have Princess Cthulhu.
You know, less technical difficulties than Matt's stream, so I feel like we're still out ahead.
Thank you, PC. So, after it was a long wait, but I think we can all say it was totally worth it.
Yeah, 4 weeks.
Without a doubt, that was worth the wait.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it was worth the wait for Lemur. I saw the leak. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Matt and the crew, but I couldn't wait.
I, on the other hand, haven't seen the leak, so yeah, I waited 4 weeks for this, and it is totally worth it.
Yeah, I woke up that day and I saw a spoiler when I when I was modding the subreddit, and then a friend told me the news, and then I just watched it so I can moderate the subreddit. But yeah. But we talked about it a few weeks ago.
That 2 weeks ago.
A lot happened.
Yeah. It was a difficult time to be like an Amphibia fan, but thankfully the time has passed and we can all celebrate for the greatness that is this episode.
We're in the clear. All we have next is however long the hiatus is going to be.
Probably 9 months minimum.
Ooh, hopefully not.
Yeah, probably longer.
Yeah, I think we're probably gonna get season 3 in 2022. If I'm being honest.
Yeah, next year, of course.
Yeah, that's for sure.
I see Molly McGee taking up the summer. Then we're getting Owl House. When is that? Is that August?
Actually, this time, Owl House is actually gonna premiere in June this month. And Molly McGee is gonna premiere in October.
Oh dang!
Owl House is Owl House is gonna be our summer cartoon, while Molly McGee is gonna be our fall cartoon.
Yeah, and then I feel like we'll get season 3 next year, which is fine. Gives me time to work on all my fan art that I've been putting off.
We have time.
Anyway, are we still waiting? Are we waiting for King still?
No, I think I'm going to wrap up. So basically today's format, we'll go through the first half of True Colors. Then the guys in the chat at halftime will have a little bit of time to share their own thoughts on the finale. Because I want to get everyone who's been on the podcast these past few weeks a chance to give their thoughts. And then after that, we'll cover the second half of True Colors.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just gonna.
There's gonna be a lot more to say about the second half than the first half.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
Absolutely.
So, I guess we'll start with covering. I'll give a brief summary, I guess, of True Colors. Bear with me, please. So, we start with a flashback. Back in LA, Marcy's in the library, and then I think she's studying at first, and then she comes across this really strange book, Dr. P's Extraordinary Guide to Magic and Mystery, and then that's where she learns about the box. And then eventually she gets a text from Sasha, as well as her dad, which she meets up with first before meeting up with Sasha and Anne. We see she's crying for some reason when she rushes out of the house, and then she passes the thrift store, and by I guess a coincidence or fate, The Calamity box is just sitting right there on the wardrobe. We cut back, and then we get the next title card several months later. We get back to the group where it's the Planters, Marcy, Grime, and Sasha, and Frobo, big crew, all arrived to Newtopia to basically, now that the box is recharged, to get back home. So we get a scene with Anne and Marcy and Sprig as well, thinking about their time, and the adventures they've had in Amphibia. And then they meet up with Andreas, and just before Andreas grabs the box, Grime grabs it, and then that's when Sasha and Grime take Andreas hostage, take the rest of the group hostage, and begin their takeover of Newtopia. So while the Planters are being escorted to the prison, Anne loses her temper. Oh wait, I actually forgot an important part. Sasha tries to send Anne back home, but it doesn't work. So she just sends them off to the dungeon. Anne has a tantrum, starts a fight with the guards, and then they're interrupted by Yunnan, and they all escape back to Sal's restaurant to regroup and rethink their next move. So we get kind of a montage of where the group splits up, where Olivia, Marcy, and Hop Hop head off to rescue Andreas, while Yunnan, Polly, and Frobo distract the Toad soldiers on the main road, while Anne and Sprig get the gate closed so that the Toad reinforcements don't arrive and overwhelm them. So basically everything's going a plan. And then meanwhile we cut back to Sasha, who's kind of unhappy that Anne doesn't see Sasha as a friend anymore. And then while Grime tries cheering up Sasha, they come across a mural of Andreas, which once they take it down, reveals a very ominous tapestry of whatever Andreas is thinking for the past 1,000 years. Then they notice that Anne and Sprig are trying to open the gate. Sprig and Grime fight, while Anne and Sasha have their own duel. Eventually, both Anne and Sprig win their fights. They close the gates, and then eventually Newtopia is essentially taken back before the Toad reinforcements arrive. And that's pretty much the end of the first segment, the first half of True Colors. So my own thoughts on this, I really like this first half. It was well paced, but it felt like if we got this as its own separate 22-minute episode, I think would have been it would have the pacing would have stayed the same, and I probably would have enjoyed it more. But I understand why they were condensing this rebellion plot in terms of what we get next. So the fight scenes were nice. The animation was nice, especially with the Anne and Sasha rematch. And we could the backgrounds of Newtopia getting invaded. I liked how everything's like damaged. There's smoke everywhere. I really liked those details. So I guess PC, what were your thoughts on this first half?
My thoughts on strictly the first half. I will say I enjoyed it a lot. I've been looking forward to the storming of Newtopia, basically since Toadcatcher. So this was very fun. But it was clear that they were trying to rush through this a bit, not in a bad way, but this was clearly not the focus of the writers, and so while it was done well, it was also done quickly.
Yes, so like even that montage we got of the gang splitting up and taking care of their own tasks, that itself could have been like its own episode or even its own B plot in a 22-minute segment.
Yeah, like I do think like the whole storming of Newtopia could have been its own episode, and I understand why it wasn't, and I am glad that they focused on the more important stuff. Um, well, I know that we're saving this discussion for later, but I am expecting to get that kind of story, the whole, rebels fighting against stuff story. I have a feeling we'll get that in the future though. So I'm not too
Yeah,
worried about it.
yeah, I think that we'll get the time we've expected, especially with the way that the season goes down. Yeah. Lemur, what were your thoughts on this first half?
Okay, first of all, I'm gonna save my thoughts for the flashback part for the second half because that connects to the second half more than the first. But on actual thoughts though, like PC said, I really enjoyed this first half very very much, and I but like he said, it can also be its own episode, like its own 22-minute episode. Like it could have been expanded a little bit more if it's like a double, if True Colors was like a 44-minute episode. But it would but I think making this its own 22-minute runtime would have probably uh would have kind of messed up with the pacing that they have here so far, very much, which is very good. The pacing in this episode is very, very good. Even though, like, I could have, like, even though, like, you could have said, this first half would have been its own 22-minute episode if they wanted to. Um, the rebellion itself was very much fun, and the fight scenes were fantastic as usual for amphibious standards. I especially love the Anne and Sasha fight. I especially love that part. Spring and Grime was something that I did not expect to happen in this episode. A good callback to the pilot, and yeah, there's some fun interactions between characters that I did not expect, like Hyonin and Polly, even though I did not expect that. Olivia and Marcy was a fun dynamic that I wanted to explore more. And yeah, aside from that, this was a very good first part.
And like the moment, I know we saw this in the promo, but just like the way Andrus reacts when Grime takes the box, like it's like he was like on the cusp of like completing the like whatever plan he has, and then like once Grime just like takes that from him, he just like loses it and just like charges at him.
Yeah.
Yeah, like apparently the rebellion is actually a good thing.
Yeah, by accident. I will
Oh.
say, while you mentioned the promo, I thought the official promo in retrospect was great. It was very hype building, but it didn't give anything away about the big twist or anything like that. So it's a shame it got undermined by Disney pulling it back at the last second because it was a very good ad.
Oh, Uzbek, so give us your thoughts on the first half
Oh,
of this
where are we cutting
episode.
off the
So
halfway point?
we're cutting the halfway point at the part where Newtopia is saved from the rebels.
Yeah, okay, that makes sense. All right, I liked it. I thought it was pretty good. I think in retrospect, it runs into a little of the Indiana Jones problem where if Sasha and Grime hadn't been leading a rebellion, if they'd been telling the truth, the same essential stuff happens. I mean, Andres gets a box, reveals he's evil, they fight. So in that sense, but it was very cinematic. I liked the fight with Sasha and Anne. I liked Sasha and Grime. They're like, are we the good guys? That's weird. I appreciate Sasha still has her doubts going forward, and yeah, solid start.
Yeah, the Sasha and Anne fight was very or even their first argument right before Sasha sends them away, like you could feel like you could. I felt for Anne when Sasha just. I wish we got like a little bit more of the scope or the size of Newtopia, because like apparently Grime is able to just like yell from the balcony and everyone can hear him. Like, are the acoustics just good in Utopia where like you can just shout from the balcony and everyone can hear you?
I will say, New Newtopia did feel a lot smaller this episode.
Yes.
We didn't even see the townies a lot in this episode, which I am kind of disappointed about.
We saw Gertie.
Yeah, Gertie, but all of the other Newtopians that we've seen in the Newtopia arc are pretty absent. Bella, Priscilla, and Pearl, which I'm very much hyped for, but they didn't appear.
Yeah.
Maybe in the future.
I hope so.
Yeah, actually, I'm thinking about the second half, but yeah, I'm sure they'll make a return. I mean, they were all very fun characters. Oh, go ahead, Uzbeks.
Well, yeah. But ultimately one-off characters, and we've got a lot of stuff to cover, so probably no more than cameos going forward, I think.
So, like Yunnan showing up, like I remember the 2B trailer. It showed Yunnan surrounded by a bunch of toads, and she's like about to give her like her catchphrase. And I remember a lot of us were thinking like, okay, when is that scene showing up? When is that scene showing up? Like every week, and then eventually, like we finally get it. And it wasn't that long. It's just I was just thinking about like how like just that scene alone, like that like those few frames got us all hyped for True Colors because we knew like that was pretty much like the only episode it could show up in.
Yeah. I'm actually surprised that it didn't take place in the throne room. Like we were all thinking that.
Yeah, it was just like yeah, because we all thought it was the throne room because it was so close to
the aesthetic.
Yeah.
Yeah, like because you can recognize that like those pillars and stuff in the frame.
Mm-hmm.
And then I wasn't expecting anything to happen when Sasha tried opening the box, but like I did really get like a little bit like nervous when she was like prepared to send Anne back home.
Yeah,
because
I'm not going to
they
send
built
Anne
that up
home
really well.
in the season 2
musical
finale,
cues.
obviously. That was sarcasm.
Like the sound design in the music was really on point. It made you think that just for a moment maybe they'd get zapped back.
And then like Anne's first like her first thought is to like embrace the planners, which was so like
that was really nice.
I do wonder what happened to the box back home where it just they just opened the box and it got them transported to Amphibia. It makes me wonder why it didn't happen here. Like,
I mean, it's clear that there's some manipulation and different settings for the box, like what Marcy did at the end. Sorry to get ahead.
Yeah, there was like some
but
control.
not in the way that it opened a portal back home where it came out of the box and they all got sucked in. There was like a clear thing you could jump in and out of. So clearly there are different settings that Marcy and Andreas have studied.
Yeah, I was thinking that too. Like there was some sort of controls in the box that you need to activate before you before you open portals.
Well, there are. I mean, we know that Marcy learned how to use the box when she extracted the gems all the way back in the first temple.
First temple, yeah.
Yeah, so that wasn't too much of a surprise. We already knew that Marcy was fully had read up on how to properly use the box.
If it wasn't for the proposition, she could have easily like opened the portal easily. She doesn't need Andrea's help at all. Sorry for getting ahead.
Absolutely. No, Marcy could have sent them home at any time.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, and that nod when Andreas gives Marcy when he's getting taken away. It's like they got a plan going on.
Mhm.
It does make me wonder what would Grime and Sasha have done if there wasn't any of that, and Marcy had just gotten ready to send them home. What would
What
their
do you
plan
mean
have been
if
then?
like? Oh, if at the third temple, Marcy said, "Yeah, let's go home."
Yeah,
I wonder because I think
I mean it's a moot point, but it's fun to
yeah,
think about.
it is.
Anyway, it's getting real hard to talk about what's going on without talking about the second half.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
did not. I did not I didn't anticipate it would be this difficult.
Well, I mean that's kind of the thing. The first half, that's the problem with dividing this whole podcast into halves, is that
into commercial breaks, actually.
the end of commercial breaks is that so much of the beginning of this episode was set up and then paid off in the second half, and the second half is also where stuff from across the entire season, and that a couple seasons ago, are being paid off now.
I mean, we could talk
But
about the mural.
We
Oh, go ahead,
could.
Lemur.
uh, oh, I was about to say that we all thought like for this season, like the big event that is going to happen is the invasion to Newtopia. But the fact that it's just the setup is a testament to how big the scale of the show really had become.
Yeah, and I did talk about this earlier, but I guess this is now a good as time as any to talk about it. The just the natural escalation of stakes in this show is just fantastic.
Mhm.
From season 1 all the way to season 2, the show has been just raising the stakes in a very natural progression, so that it never really feels like you're suddenly watching a different show.
Yes, there's a transition between each step, like Anne's growth in season 1,
Hmm.
and then her like defending the town in toe tax, and then that's also like another escalation towards reunion where like Hop Hop, like in that one episode where Hop Hop like runs for mayor, like becomes like the catalyst of like a class war.
Yeah, and I mean, I think it's just something that the crew has done so well, because at no point between Anne or Beast and True Colors did it ever feel like Amphibia did a big tone shift. But when I look back on the first episode and the latest episode, it's clear that there was a tone shift. It was just so gradual and built up that it never really put you off.
It's a slow burn.
It is a very slow burn, and I think a big part of that is, and I'm stealing this from a YouTuber, the third Bill. He described Amphibia as having as having like a hidden complexity to it. Like
I wouldn't even say it's hidden. Like these
not
characters
hidden,
are really
not hidden complexity per se. I forgot what phrase he used. But basically, it takes the consequences and growth from episode and actually keeps it going forward.
yes. Like even with Sasha, you can see like there are consequences for her regressing basically on what we've seen her do in that brief moment between like the third temple and True Colors.
Yeah, exactly.
I can also say like the progression of the themes of this show, of the seasons of the show, kind of reflects the kind of reflects the Calamity Gems too. Like I don't know if this has been brought up before, but the 3 seasons of the show really reflects like the the traits of the Calamity Gems. Like you got season 1, which is Slice of Life, which is about heart that Anne cultivates. And then season 2 is about adventure, solving puzzles, solving a mystery, and just having fun, like wits. Then in season 3, there's strength, which is, action. Like it looks like season 3 is heading. I'm sorry about getting ahead there too, but
No,
I
that's
just
alright.
want to point that too. I just want to point that out.
And that mural that Sasha and Grime found, like, I feel like if we had a 22-minute episode, I feel like we wouldn't need that obvious, like, curtain, like, throwing off the curtain and seeing what's behind it, like, moment. We could have had something, like, another way where Sasha and Grime would, like, discover that Andrews has an ulterior motive.
I will say, Andreas has I mean, I gotta respect the
Cut off there.
just there.
Oh, you cut off PC. Can you
You
repeat
cut
that?
up their PC.
I just gotta say, I respect Andreas. I respect Andreas for just having that mural in his throne room.
Yeah, the amount of, like, the balls it takes to have that painted for probably 1,000 years and just, like, covering it up with a sheet. And no one got suspicious of that. Like, none of, like, the cleaners just like, oh, let me just dust off this curtain. Oh, what is this? The end of the world as we know it. But in that mural, you could see, like, the Moss Man and the shadowfish
Shadowfish?
in the
Yeah.
in the
Moss
corners.
Man, which
Moss.
they look quite a bit like Anne in her super form, kind of.
I mean, I guess I mean, they do have branches sticking out of their head, and
Yeah,
they are fluffy. So
similarity perhaps.
in silhouette, there are some similarities.
What would they actually play? Like, what role would the Lost Man and the Shadowfish would play in the
My
mural?
guess is they're from other worlds that were
Yeah.
similarly once
I mean,
ruled by
I've talked.
Utopia.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I've talked about how the basement is just full of souvenirs from other worlds that Andres is keeping locked up.
Yeah. So we'll see if they play a minor role going forward or a bigger role.
They'll play some role, I feel.
Yeah.
They're in the mural, so they're gonna have some. Plus, the Moss Man was set up all the way in season 1, so. And Matt and the crew have been nailing their setups. I don't feel like they'd go through the effort of setting up Moss Man all the way back in Wally and Anne if they weren't going to go through with it.
Yeah.
Oh, wait,
Rip.
Yeah, sorry about that. I cut off. Where did I cut off?
they were just gonna talk about how Mossman's play, like how the role of Mossman that was set back in Wally and Anne.
Oh, I don't think I said that. That might have been PC or Uzbeks.
Yeah, they said that.
Oh, okay.
The other thing about the mural is if you look at the top, you've got the three. Sorry, there's someone else nearby. You can see the three people with the three colored gems above the box at the very top. So, what they originally on Andreas' side was that symbolic of him. We'll see, and does make me wonder about what the Skip Man was up to. what happened to them. Probably they're dead, but you know.
Yeah, so I don't want the second half of the episode doesn't cover this, so I guess we can talk about it now if you'd like. We don't get anything about the Skip Man, and we don't get anything about the monster creature, like the monster in the basement. So, and I guess that makes sense because there was a lot going on in the second half. But I'm just surprised that the first temple would show us that early on.
Yeah, well, I mean, it helps set our expectations, like how we got Frobo all the way in season 2, episode 1B, just so we would have our expectations set for there being advanced technology in Amphibia. In the first temple, they showed us the creature in the basement. Goes by a lot of names, but we were shown that, so our expectations would be set going forward in much the same way.
And I think it keeps a bit of mystery about Andreas going forward. If we hadn't seen that before, we would think, oh, well, we figured out what he's all about. We know everything there is to know. He just wants to conquer. But having that monster still unexplained keeps an air of mystery around Andreas and his plans.
Yeah,
that we wouldn't have otherwise.
It also does that, absolutely.
So I'm looking over RGU's notes if there's anything else we want to talk about. Like Marcy's book had a lot of had 2 Disney TVA references with Bill Cipher and Goliath from Gargoyles.
Oh shoot, Gargoyles is actually canon in this world.
I'm pretty sure Gargoyles is canon in every Disney show.
Like this is but Amphibia is like the first show from DTVA aside from DuckTales that I've seen a Gargoyles reference.
It's like that Doofenshmirtz meme where it's like, if I had a nickel for every time I saw a Gargoyles reference in 2021, I'd have 2 nickels.
2 nickels, which is a few, but it's weird. It happened twice. Yeah, that.
Yeah, that Bill Cipher screenshot was yeah, that was I think the most posted image before True Colors actually aired that I had to take down.
Oh, thank goodness I didn't see that then.
Even more than other scenes?
Yeah, even more than other stuff, which is odd. But at least it was some of the other stuff was mentioned and was more of a thing that happened in the comments section, which was harder for me to track. But
well,
but yeah,
I guess
I'm. Oh, go ahead, Lemur. Sorry.
Well, I was gonna say that I guess that kind of confirms that GF, Gravity Falls, and Amphibia does exist in the same universe, but they don't really interact with one another.
When in doubt, multiverse.
Yeah, not multiverse, but they take place in the same America, but they're completely separated. You know.
It'd be weird going from one state to another, and everyone's everyone's proportions are super different.
Yeah, at least in Gravity, at least in Gravity Falls, it's contained. At least the mystery elements were contained at one town. Los Angeles might be onto something weird. It's going to explode.
But what else do we want to talk about?
Honestly, I think we need to move on to the second half.
Yeah,
I know, we're all waiting for
that.
Yeah.
All right, so last call for first half. Going once, going twice. All right, we're gonna start talking about the second half. I guess I'll give a brief summary first of the second half. Anne gives the box to Andreas. Andreas gives his little monologue about making Utopia great again. and then uh and then he pretty much like it's mask off from here onwards. He activates the castle that launches into the sky, and then far away, like miles away, a bunch of factories reactivate, like the ones we saw in Fort in the Road, and like a bunch of Frobos get made and are just immediately sent to the castle for reinforcements. So like Anne and like everyone's ready to fight, and then Marcy like goes in between to try and mediate the situation, which is completely out beyond her control. And that's when Andrews reveals that Marcy like knew what the box did and like what it does, and she pretty much teleported her and Anne and Sasha here on purpose because her dad was moving away and they would they would they wouldn't be together. But then they'd be together here in Amphibia and travel to different worlds if she gave the box to Andreas. And so Anne pretty much rallies the group again. They have a fight. And then just when all of Andreas's Frobo units are destroyed, uh, he tries to step on Polly, but then Frobo interferes, and then Andreas basically one shots Frobo, and I guess Frobo dies. And then when Andreas tries to finish off Polly, Polly grows her legs, and she rushes to grab the box, but then Andreas has Sprig hostage, and then even though they give up the box, Andreas just drops Sprig out of the castle, like while they're up in the air, and then we just get this like really emotional flashback of Anne like recalling her time with Sprig, and then we get the season 1 credits from a different angle, and then Anne's connection with the box starts to like activate somehow, and while Marcy like she jumps out the window, grabs Joe Sparrow to rescue Sprig, Anne pretty much transforms into her super mode, and she pretty much just like one shots like she pretty much takes on Andrea's head on 1v1. Well, not 1v1. She takes out all the Frobo surrounding Andreas, and they get in a quick fight. But then eventually, like her gem powers fade away. But then like Sprig is there to comfort her. So then, just when Andreas is about to he pretty much recovers from Anne's like attack, Marcy has grabbed the box and she opens a portal back home. And then while Grime and Sasha hold Andreas off, everyone runs into the portal. And just when Marcy's about to join them, she gets impaled by Andreas. And then she collapses, drops the box, and then the planters end up on Earth. And that's the end of part 2 and the end of season 2. So yeah, like the second half was a lot more interesting. No, I shouldn't say a lot more interesting. It was probably like the culmination of season 2, and like after this, like this is honestly like my favorite Disney animated show for me. And before I get into your thoughts, we're going to let the chat join in and give their thoughts on the episode. So I guess who's in the general right now? Nick, do you want to go first?
Raise your hand if you want.
Wait, can they request to speak?
Wait, I think so. Yeah, they can. Like King did.
We probably should have started this up before we started, to be honest.
Oh, I can. Okay, I'm gonna start with Nick. Let's see if he's ready.
I think he's AFK.
He's AFK. Okay. Who else is in general right now?
Well, there's Joy in our there's Joy.
Yeah, I think let's check with Joy.
There he is.
Hey.
Hello.
So Joy, what were your thoughts on True Colors?
As a whole,
As a whole, okay, man, I have so much to talk about, but I think I'm gonna keep it to one scene. So, uh, calamity powers have been confirmed. That's that's a wow, and has been powered up with the gem. That's and it's very, very, very exquisitely the gem that's causing the powers, obviously. So that's I have made a bet. For those that don't know, I have made a bet that it wouldn't happen, and it happened. So well, and it happened in the best way possible. Like ants, how do the the branch growing with leaves, like following her trail, her path of like pure wrath as she beat up Andreas. Man, so it's just straight up out of the best parts of anime, dude. Oh, and that palette, that color palette, with her suit and her hair, dude. Oh my god, I need to draw that when I can. Man, that was amazing. That them dropping Sprague was I mean, yeah, I would say it was unexpected. I If anyone had to be dropped for Anne to be, angry enough to get that transformation, yeah, it would have to be Sprague. Not plus he didn't actually die unlike someone else. So it wasn't all that surprising. But still, wow. This this episode really, really set I don't even know what to say. This episode, well, it's 11 out of 10. Uh, it leads up to the third season so excellently. It's magnificent. There's no other word.
All right, thank you, Joy. So up next, Pixels, do you want to go next? Let me invite him to speak. All right, I sent you the invite.
Hi, hello.
Hi, Pixels. It's
Hello.
nice to meet you.
Yeah, first time, so
So, what are your thoughts on what were your thoughts on True Colors?
I probably need therapy after that, but after all, it beats Infinity Train Book Three's finale for me because the pacing of the episode before, like Battle of the Bands and the dinner, to True Colors was just fantastic. Probably one of the best pacings I've ever seen. I do agree that I feel like True Colors should have been an hour based on how it was structured, but it was still good. Matt Brawley and his team did a great job in how they did it. Those fight scenes were phenomenal, and going Super Saiyan on Andreas was fantastic. Made me shed a tear. Then that scene happened. Then I actually started crying. But it's just I'm still like my hairs are still standing up from that scene. It's just like the show is just it's like top tier for me. It's so great. I love it. And Disney Channel is doing the right thing. Well, besides not putting in schedule where it was supposed to premiere, but fantastic all around.
And Pixel, what were your because the chat's telling because usually when a new person comes on the podcast, I ask them like their thoughts on season 2 or the show overall. So if you want, you can
on
What were your
season
thoughts on Amphibia season 2 or
on
Amphibia overall?
Amphibia overall is a fantastic show. The character's really great. The development. I love how we got like episodes of other characters like Wally and Felicia in season 2 and all that stuff. We got especially the reunion episode, which is the season 1 finale, was fantastic. Just all in all, Amphibia is a really great show, and I can't wait for season 3 to hop by probably next year. And yeah, fantastic.
All right, thank you, Pixels.
No
So
problem.
up next we have Venom. So I think Venom can invite himself in. Yeah. So Venom, what were your thoughts on True Colors?
Oh, I love the episode, and I was expecting the pacing itself, though wasn't expecting the rebellion to last for in an entirety of its 26 episode runtime, and I was like, as it happened though, the rebellion only lasted for the first half in its 11-minute runtime. Like like um like Sasha and Grime already got Barrow's Warhammer, and they already got the Toll Towers army on their side to start the rebellion for the invasion of Utopia, and then all that backfired as soon as the and the planters and the others like stop the invasion. And the soundtrack itself, again, props to TJ Hill for the composition of composing the of its episode. Eventually, notably the second half, the 11 minutes of its runtime, it's just top tier goodness.
Yeah, that the music playing when Anne is remembering her time with Sprig, that was really emotional, I guess. Yeah.
Hmm.
And there's no dialogue. It was just I think a piano, I guess.
Yeah. No dialogue. He just witnessing on your own to feel the emotion on what was happening the moment it hits.
All right. Anything else you want to add, Venom?
No, not at all. Nothing.
All right. So I think up next we'll have Chuck. Is Chuck here? So Chuck, you saw the episode last night
Yeah,
when it went on demand. So you had I
yeah.
think you were one of the people with a fresh.
Oh
It's
yeah,
still.
like a sort of fresh, I guess.
What were your thoughts on this finale?
It was crazy, especially the second half. Uh, the stakes the stakes went from 10 to 11 really fast. I think Andreas had an excellent performance by Keith David. Everything from the Day at the Aquarium episode got a payoff. He was a conqueror. We got, I guess, some lore behind his friends, and what else was there? Oh, the other worlds too, which set up the ending where Anne and the planters end up in separate on Earth in California, Um. Uh. I liked Sasha's. I like Sasha's plot line where she's like sort of like questioning what she's actually doing. Uh, the animation at times was really great. I liked how fluid it was, especially the Anne and Sasha fight, and then this fight scenes we get in the throne room. Uh,
Yeah, I think another animation studio stepped in to help animate that. I forgot the name of it.
yeah, I think I saw one of their clips. I forgot the name of it was, but I think
Small bit animation. I think that's why they call.
yeah, I think they guest starred on Mao Mao, which is a different
Oh,
show.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I guess those are most of my thoughts.
all right. Thank you, Chuck. And if anyone else joins the chat later on, because I know like I anticipate. Oh, is RGU here? Okay, RGU, get in here. Let me invite you to speak. Did you get the the invite thing?
Yeah, he has. He has to accept it.
Hello,
Hey, RGU. Yeah, we can
can you
hear
hear
you.
me? Yeah.
Yes. What were your thoughts on True Colors?
So like, I may or may not spend like 30 minutes crying after the episode ends.
It's
Yes. So like
okay.
this
We know
episode,
how
like the
the
animation, yeah, everything is just so good. Like I can't believe they killed like the fan favorite character too. Uh, oh my God, I'm still sad from that. So like, I kind of want to talk about like the Marcy crying scene. So like, I kind of get it because I have like a similar experience on that, and like, it's like everyone have like their pillar, like fame, money, family, friends, and like when those things like get broken, and people will try to be defensive about it. So that's why like Marcy ran away, cause like her pillar being a friend is like being taken away, and like hmm, like when Marcy say like, look at how much you've grown, look at Spirit, I give you Spirit, I give you everything. It's like she's trying to defend herself, like she's trying to create this like emotional wall, and she's trying to justify herself. She tried to use logic, and like she knows that uh Anne is like slowly backing away. So when sorry, I'm not good at work.
yeah, I understand RGU. Like that scene with Marcy, like the desperation, like you understand it, but you understand like how far like that was too far gone, but you understand why Marcy was willing to cross that line, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And like
it's
ah
and like the sheer horror, she like the horror, like her face when Andres is the one who tells Anne and Sasha and everyone about this. Like, yeah, that was really
it
hard
hurt.
to watch.
Yeah, and like in the end where when like everyone backed away and she is like alone, it's like
Yeah,
a cherry on top.
and I guess we'll go more into discussion about this, but Marcy didn't want to be alone, but it's weird how she's the one who like ended up in Utopia far away from Anne and Sasha. But
Oh yeah, that you're right.
I guess, but I know I'm guessing the other guys will have more to say about that. But thank you, RGU. Anything else you want to add? Like anything? Any final thoughts?
Yeah. 10 out of 10 episode, best episode ever.
Yeah, for sure. All right. Thank you, RGU. So I guess thanks, guys, in the chat for giving your thoughts. Now, I guess starting with, I'm thinking. I know Lemur brings the open, so I'll save him for last. But Uzbeks, what were your thoughts on the second half?
It was good. Sorry, there's family nearby, so I'm gonna have to dip for a few minutes.
Oh, okay, no worries. PC, what were your thoughts on the second half?
All right.
Let me pick your brain.
I've got a lot of thoughts.
Well, give us a third of those thoughts for now.
All right. Let's see. I mean, people have already done a lot of talking about a lot of just a lot of how good so much of the stuff in this scene was. The animation, well, the second half was the animation, the fact that Amphibia and the entire crew actually went there. So I'm actually gonna talk about how much, since I have to choose one thing right now, I'm gonna talk about how I absolutely loved Andreas in this episode. Like
Yes. Oh my god.
this is peak villain writing. Uh, I know I've said it a bunch of times before, but he is such an emblematic he is so emblematic of a toxic, abusive relationship, and that of course culminates in that one scene. I think we all know which scene, where he says, "Look what you made me do," which is right out of the Abuser's Handbook. But I think the thing that makes me love Andreas the most is how much of a parallel he has to Anne and to the girls in general, but especially to Anne, I feel like. Because and again, I know this is just another one of my crack theories, but it really feels like the show is drawing a lot of strong parallels between Anne and Andreas. Both of them, well, are very strongly associated with the color blue, and both of them have been betrayed by people who they once called friends. Now, obviously, Andreas is an unreliable narrator, so it seems likely that the betrayal probably is not a black and white, cut and dry thing like he presented it. But the fact is that Andreas does still feel like he was betrayed, and that's a whole part of his motivation. Andreas has bottled up this resentment and anger for 1,000 years, and it has turned him into a figurative and literal monster. And I think that's really interesting because Anne has also been betrayed by her friends, and she also has a lot of anger and resentment. But in the moment, she didn't bottle it up. She admitted that they had all made mistakes, but that they were just mistakes, and that Andreas was the true evil. And I think that was a really important moment because that kind of shows the big difference between Anne and Andreas as characters. Anne forgives her friends because she has grown as a person, and Andreas does not. And I think that theme was reflected a little bit during the one scene where Andreas was gonna toss Sprig out a window, where he decided to teach her a lesson. Like she said, like your friend, like my friends may have messed up, but I still love them. And Andreas saw that and decided to prove to Anne that the only thing that loving your friends gets you is pain.
I mean, yeah, you really summed up the Anne and Andreas like parallels. Like I want to come back to like I think I've spoken with you guys about this like multiple times, but like that very brief shot of Anne giving the box to Andrews is probably like my favorite. I think my favorite like scene or moment, not moment, my favorite like screen cap of the show, with like how much is like going on in just like that simple frame, like where you have Anne, like the shot is focused on Anne with Andrews like moving background. I think other than Andrews' first appearance, that this scene was like where you could really like feel the scale of Andrews and what his ambition, like what that affect, like how that affects Amphibia, like and how like Anne's journey is the focus of the show, but Andreas's plan is like it's like the end game, I guess. And like you can see like I don't want to say desperation, but like the look in Andreas's eyes where like he's like so like he knows Anne is like not gonna listen to Sasha. Like
I think
like
I think obsession is the word you're looking for.
obsession, yes. And he knows Sasha has like broken Anne's trust, and he knows Anne is just going to give the box to him. Like he thinks Anne at this point, pretty much, and that everything is going to go according to plan. And I love that shot so much. But thank you, PC, for bringing that up about Anne and Andreas. Is Uzbek's back? You there?
I mean, I've been here listening, but I'm not able to engage in the conversation like I need to be able to for that. So carry on.
All right. So Lemur, what were your thoughts on? What do you want to talk about right now first?
Well, I think it's pretty obvious what I want to discuss in this episode in particular. Like this one episode, there's one thing that I want to talk about in colors. Let's talk about Marcy. From the get-go, True Colors did 3 things in the first 2 minutes of this episode. One, it completely denounces the idea that Marcy is is a shallow character. She isn't. She was never a shallow character back then, and she is not a shallow character now, especially with the revelation that we've learned in this episode. Second, it also denounces the fact that she is a betrayal in the aspect that she is an absolutely evil character. She wasn't. And third, it didn't paint her as a perfect character who is flawless, who is mistakeless. She did something mistake. She did make a lot of mistakes. That mistakes pretty much fueled the entire show. This episode completely established that Marcy is one of the most important characters of this entire show, of this entire narrative. So, from the beginning, like from the flashback, we got Marcy. We immediately got Marcy's motivation from this episode, which is well, not only from this episode, but from the entire series, which is her loneliness. The fact that she can't cope with the fact that she may be leaving the only friends that she has ever had. And the fact that hurts a lot. And people condemn Marcy for some reason because why does she do that? It's a stupid idea. Like, I think those people look at it in a very logical way, and I think that's an inappropriate perspective to look at because it denounces the emotion that Marcy went through in that situation. She was 13. She's 13 years old. She's pretty young, and she doesn't think straight when she doesn't think straight because she doesn't understand the the severity of the problem, because she's like, even though she's very smart, she's not very good at emotions. And when she faces the reality that she may be leaving the only friends she had soon, it got to her, and it made her spiral out of control, looking for an answer to avoid that reality. She doesn't want to end the friendship that the only friendships that she has. So in spite of everything that happened, I can never really hate her for everything that she did. That doesn't condone her for her actions, but it does make you understand why she did it. And that also really recontextualizes every single Marcy episode that we had so far, from the Newtopia arc to New Wartwood to Maddie and Marcy. Like, people complain about the Marcy episodes being filler and non-existent, and how Marcy doesn't really do much in the plot. This episode recontextualizes that episodes and make them mean more, because not only the reason why the Marcy episodes that we got feel so non-existent is because that's all what she wanted. She wanted adventure. She wanted fun. She wanted a good time with her friends and herself. She wants to avoid that grim reality back home. And we talk about, like, a while back, we did an analysis on Marcy back on the main server, and this is literally the exact same thing that happened. That analysis stated the exact same thing that happened here. Amphibia is an escape, is an escape for her, but that doesn't mean, and that was perfectly demonstrated on her breakdown when she was confronted by everybody. She wanted, while she may be saying that all of the things she did was for her friend's sake, ultimately it's about herself and how she doesn't want to lose her friends. She doesn't want to lose the only people that she cared about. And how she starts saying about how much fun they had, about how she says that she gave Anne everything, from her family to her friendship with Sprig to her growth. She's saying that all of those things are good for her, even though in reality, in the basic sense, it's all for her own good. Well, because she doesn't want to confront the fact that she is going to lose them soon. And that really got to me, because, yeah, like I said, she is not perfect. She is not, like what PC said, or you guys said, they're not perfect people. So they're just kids that make big mistakes. And Marcy's mistakes are fueled by guilt, by sadness, by loneliness. And that's something that a lot of people can connect with, especially for me. I understand Marcy's plight. I understand her pain. And in retrospect, that really, her fate in this episode got to me so much. Seeing her seeing her go out like that is probably one of the most heartbreaking things I've seen in recent memory. And God, like it's so heartbreaking. Like Marcy went from one of the like from this episode, Marcy immediately shot up into the most tragic characters in this show. Like, I can't help but feel absolutely terrible for her.
Yeah, Marcy really. Oh, I'll be right back. PC. What were your thoughts on this?
On
Hopefully I'm
Marcy.
back, so could I?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, go ahead, Uzbek.
Go for
Yeah,
it.
go
sorry.
ahead, Osbex.
Couple responses to what you guys said. PC, Keith David performance was also a big part of it, guys. He's just so good in every role, and that sort of the random flip flopping between affable and just pure malice was so great. I agree with all of what Lemur said about Marcia. I thought I did a good job synthesizing several strands we've seen from her sort of naive trust of authority figures to lack of care for the feelings of others to her tendency to handle crises poorly. All of those threads were brought together for that heart-wrenching scene. And then, so yeah, you covered a lot. I appreciated, some people might say it's rushed, but Sasha and Grime setting aside quickly to work with Anne and the Planters, I thought worked well. Sort of the understanding that there's this bigger threat now. That Sprigg scene really recontextualized the season 1 credits. But yeah.
And like, I guess Anne was probably recalling her most. I'm not surprised. It's not surprising that to me that Anne pretty much when she saw Sprigg like fall, like she was thinking about like she wasn't thinking about like the climax of one of their adventures. Like she wasn't thinking about like her and Sprigg on an adventure or whatever. She's just thinking about like the most
The calm
like
moments.
I want to say probably the most dull moments were actually with the exception of reunion where she's thinking about like Sprigg, the way like Sprigg like encouraged her to stand up for herself against Sasha. But then seeing that like we spent the most time with her just like thinking about them just like hanging out after at sunset, I guess. And like that meant so much for her. I don't know, that was such an emotional scene, and I'm happy that the season 1 credits like have like it's a I can't go back to the season 1 episodes, watch the credits and like not think and not think the same way about this. Like,
Yeah,
ugh.
I'm happy that they made the season 1 credits canon because it made it so much more impactful.
Yeah, agreed.
Also
I mean,
for Sasha and Grime, yeah, they're gonna come back. They're gonna be persistent. Wink, wink. Nudge, nudge.
oh, since we mentioned Sasha, I just love how Sasha is talking about how she doesn't want to go home and she wants to rule Amphibia. And then when Marcy tells them that they all that she brought them all to Amphibia, like Sasha is like pretty quiet. Like I was expecting her to like have like for her to like scream her thoughts out, but I guess she was doing some deep thinking.
I mean, she had a small reaction, but yeah, it was definitely Anne who was the most hurt by that realization.
Can I also point out Haley Ju's performance in this episode, particularly
Yeah,
the
that
last
was
few moments? That
uh,
was she was fantastic. Like we've been saying, like pretty much everyone here is fantastic.
Like
Sorry about that.
that.
I
No,
was gonna say
that's
like,
fine. That. Oh, go ahead, Lemur. Yeah.
well, I was gonna say that we've been saying that the VAs for the show are fantastic, but the absolute standouts here are definitely Keith David and Haley Chu. They are exceptional in this.
Do you, like? I can't for Andreas now. I can't see after this episode. I can't see anyone else voicing King Andreas other than Keith David. Like even like the scenes like the episodes before, like it's the voice of authority, a king, so like regal but a sense of humor. But here, like making that switch from the mentor to the villain, like I can't picture anyone else other than Keith David voicing this like horribly evil, horribly like cunning and suave villain.
Oh yeah, no, Keith David knocked this performance out of the goddamn park.
I mean, he's always
Like
been like
even
an exceptional voice actor, but his as Andreas is something else, really.
like Andrews here, like he has like the charm. He has like the fight in him. Like especially when Andrews like just pulls out a flaming sword out of nowhere, letting you know, and then like he's just having like the time of his life. Like he's not at that point. He was not even concerned about losing to these guys until Anne like powered up with the gem. Like prior to that moment, he was in complete control of like the scene, and like Keith David just like completely like sold that performance of Andrews just like taking over the universe and having a good time about it. And I guess we can talk about Frobo. So not only did the Amphibia crew impale and possibly kill off a teenager, they also killed a baby, which is Frobo, because Frobo was basically established as a baby, and they and the show killed him off.
He's not dead. He's less dead than Marcy is.
Oh my god, stop.
What?
And I
I'm
mean,
serious.
yeah, it did feel
He's
a
a
little.
robot.
It did feel a little. All right, we need an emotional moment for Polly to get her legs. Let's kill off the robot.
Honestly, I don't mind it. Because I think it served the while yes, it did at the moment it did kind of feel like a check off the list emotional character moment. Let's kill off the disposable character.
Or even the
Let's kill off the disposable character who we met like a couple episodes ago. But I honestly think that it did a fantastic job of lowering our guards for the Marcy scene because honestly, after they killed off Frobo, I assumed I knew what was going to happen. It's like, okay, so we had a minor character death with Frobo, that's checked off the list. We had a main character fake out with Sprig. All right, I know where this show's going. I know what I know what they're gonna do. And then it turns out that no, Frobo wasn't like the fake out at the beginning or he wasn't like just part of the list so they could say they had a character death. He was just the first casualty.
yeah, and that really we've seen how strong Frobo could be, especially in his like debut episode or his I don't want to say his debut, but like
His first major
his
appearance.
yes, his first major appearance, like of how strong he was, and Andrews basically just one-shotted him.
It did actually, yeah. It also set like a very nice precedent for Andreas's power level. Because I talked earlier about how Frobo was shown to be stronger than Anne in his debut. And so now we know that now we know that Andreas is significantly stronger than Frobo, who was stronger than Anne. Which helps establish a greater concrete threat from Andreas.
Well, on a segue from that, can we talk about Anne's calamity power form?
Oh, I just wanted to mention that like when Andrew smashes Frobo, like the grease, like it drips off of Andrew's hands for a few frames, and then you can see like it drips onto Frobo's body, and like you
I
definitely
saw
cannot do that with a person.
No,
Yikes.
you
With a
can't.
frog.
You can't get juices out of living people.
in a Disney show.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, gargoyles did it once, but
Gargoyles did do it once. But
yeah.
I mean, I'm kind of I was surprised that this episode did not even get like a TV PG.
That was surprising to me, actually. I really thought it'd get TV PG, but apparently it's TV Y7, which I'm not sure I fully agree with, to be honest. I really feel like the last scene makes it like a solid PG.
They could have made
my conspiracy theory is that's why Disney let him release the promo so early, was because it gives us hope that Marcy isn't dead.
Yeah, I could see that. There was it was definitely a lot more morbid, like not knowing about the not knowing about the scene in the intro, and just like having to think about what's going to happen to Marcy for the 3 weeks before the official release. But I don't know. I don't think we'll ever know fully what exactly happened with the delay.
Maybe if Matt moves to a different network or just doesn't work for Disney anymore, we might eventually get some sort of story. But
maybe
we're not going to get a full story.
But not for a long time.
Not
Anyway,
for
Lemur, you said you wanted to talk about the calamity powers, right?
Yeah, the
Wait.
calamity form. What?
Lemur, sorry, before we get to that, I just wanted to like, have we discussed Polly getting her legs? I know it probably won't take too long. It's just I think
we haven't. Yeah, it is weird.
Haven't.
Like if her
I like the reaction. I like the reactions. I like Top Pop being like, "Oh, my little girl has legs," and then Spring like, "Well, this is weird." I thought that rung very true.
Yeah.
Like,
I will say, her with legs was less weird looking than I thought it was going to be.
Because they kept him short, and
yeah,
they haven't changed the design all that much. I mean, obviously legs, but yeah.
Yeah, I think Polly's legs were I think it was like the perfect length, because I feel like anything longer than her stubby arms, then it would have gotten really weird. I think it was just like that perfect. It was just borderline like unnatural, but like I can accept it.
Yeah.
I don't know if you noticed, but when Polly is moving, she's no longer like in a perfect ball. She's stretched out a bit, which also helps it look a little bit less weird.
When she's running?
Yeah, when she's running, they deform the circle a bit to make it look a little less awkward.
Okay, so so including the legs, the body itself is like a circle, but then like she's actually an oval.
Yeah, This isn't like a big realization. This is just from like an animation and design standpoint. They clearly put a lot of thought into how to make legged Polly move without it looking weird.
Yeah, I like the minor details of her like she can run, but like she like still getting used to them, where she like wobbles a little bit.
I will admit, like she got used to walking with legs pretty fast. I mean, she still like stumbles, but like for the most part, she's doing fine.
Good.
I mean, I'm not surprised because like Polly has been established to like she's already mastered wielding like multiple weapons that are probably heavier than herself, heavier than her. So I think
True.
walking is probably like the easiest task for her.
Yeah, that's true. She is very strong for a little tadpole.
And then I guess Lemur, yeah, go you can start to talk about Anne's calamity powers.
Okay. So, from the get-go, I want to say that the design of Anne's calamity form, I really like it. Like it's like it reminds me of like Beta Anne from like the first design of Anne, but like tweak a little bit just to reflect the current design. I also like how the sticks and the leaves like change into like a growing like something sentient, like it's a growing plant to further demonstrate her power. And the fight scene itself and the fight scene between her and Andreas, oh my gosh, it was beautiful. Probably the best animated scene from the show so far. Like, I want to give so much credits to the to the animation studio that animated that. Yeah. It was all around fantastic. I really love it. Yeah, Small Boo animation. Thanks, Pixels.
Small what? That PC.
Small Boo animation.
Yeah. Yeah. Small Boo. Small Boo. Did. Yeah. Thanks, Pixels. Small Boo did a fantastic job with the animation. I'll be honest. The Calamity Ann fight was very fun. I didn't really care as much about it as the character stuff going on, but it was really nice, and I think it is a good idea of what we can expect going into the future, just like tone and action wise. We're gonna get more superpowers, and that's kind of cool. I think my favorite thing about it though, um, was the fact that the no big deal leitmotif was playing during her transformation and fight.
Oh, that was the motif that was playing? I thought that was like a part of Anne's theme.
Um,
Oh,
I'd have to re-listen to it, but I'm pretty certain that yeah, you can hear the no big deal leitmotif playing, which is pretty great. If it was Anne, if I'm wrong and it's Anne's themes motif, that's also just fine. But I'm pretty sure it was no big deal.
oh, okay, that's cool. And I like how like it was a fight between Anne and Andrews, but it was mostly just the fight was short, but it made sense because it was mostly just Anne like lashing out in her grief. It wasn't much of a
Yeah.
fight.
It was
Like he said,
yeah.
she had no control over it. Also, I'm not sure mentally because she kept repeating, "Give him back, give him back." So I'm not sure like how much, like even aside from turning them on and turning them off, like just how aware she was of what was happening and how much of it was just instinct. Um, and I think the focus was more on establishing, oh, cool, she has powers. Here's her basic powers, and she can fly, she can shoot glowy stuff, rather than being sort of a grand fight, if you know what I mean.
It definitely did not feel like a crazy grand fight. It was Anne coming into her powers and Andres mainly just playing the defensive until she got worn out.
And which is it's surprising that basically like Anne was like Andrews was giving it his all, and he was like putting up a fight against Anne, who was probably like just skimming the surface of her powers, which was an interesting matchup.
Well, I mean, I do think that Andres is going to become See, the thing is, Andres is going to have a more. We know in the again intro, so we're not going to get too into it. But we do see that Andres has more gear and more stuff in the future. Plus, Andres did not actually have his sword active at the time of fighting Anne.
Yeah, he pulled out like some like futuristic shield.
Which
Yeah,
I don't. Was that
it
from
appears
his
to be
sword
like
hilt? Was that from?
a shield generator in his like armor of some kind.
Yeah.
And like I'm guessing he's probably never had to use that.
Not since. Probably not since he lost the box.
It's like this man is probably like brushing off on gear that's like the hundreds of years old
Yeah, well, I mean,
because this teenager is getting pissed.
yeah, well, I mean, we know that he didn't wear the armor 100 years ago, and we know that because we finally got like an accurate scale between him and the frog and the toad, and he wasn't really that much bigger than them. I mean, he was bigger, but in the flashback, Andreas was only like maybe twice the size of the toad, and he is significantly larger now. So whatever armor he has now, it's either some sort of ancestral thing or something he specifically made for himself in his current size.
And on that point, I will say that frog was pretty clearly a planner. I'd be shocked if it wasn't an ancestor.
Yeah. I mean,
the red hair, the pink skin.
I mean, they made so many references to pink skin being rare this season. It's they're making it. They're basically spelling it out for us that the frog was a planter.
Yeah, and even Hop Pop like mentioned, yeah, the Dr. P, and also Hop Pop having that book where he said, "Oh, that book has been in my family as long as I've remember, like as long as I can remember."
Mm-hmm.
So it's the planter name is it runs deep in this world.
It does. It does. Although, I mean, to be fair, it's not like this is that big a surprise. We already kind of guessed, but getting a clear picture makes it like very obvious.
I mean, it's so deep. Like the planter name runs so deep, it's literally underground.
Yeah, it is. It is.
And then I like that Hop Pop and Grime team up.
Yeah, no, I mean it was a momentary thing. We also got an Olivia and Yunin team up, which I know was making a lot of people very happy. But the secondary character team ups was fun to see.
I was surprised how I don't think anyone anywhere guessed that if Andreas was revealed to be a villain, Yunan would wind up siding against him.
No, I did have some predictions for season 3, and I assumed Yunin would be serving Andres. But in my defense, I didn't expect
you get everything else right.
Well, no. I'm not that. I was not expecting Andres to go full mask off in True Colors. I thought he would try to keep up the facade a bit more.
And I think that I was surprised too, but looking back, like we've seen how little, like I think back in the first temple, he was not concerned at all of like the state of like affairs in Amphibia, where like the frogs are revolting, the toads are considering revolting, and he was completely like uninterested in any of that.
Well, I mean,
because so, the moment.
Oh yeah.
So like the moment he gets the box and he has access to like to his own private army, like pretty much Newtopia is just not the castle itself, but like the people, Newtopia, like it's not really much of a concern for him.
Yeah, I mean once he gets the box back and fully charged, he doesn't need to worry about this petty stuff anymore. He's got the solution to all his problems right there.
Yunan's grand utopian army is pointless now that he has an army of laser robots.
Yeah. I think going into the future, we will see Olivia and Eunice being rebels, which will be fun. But judging from the from what we have seen, they're not going to be playing a huge part, which is unfortunate because I do like those two.
I was surprised Olivia didn't like participate in the final fight because like I remember like back in the sleepover to end all sleepovers, like she was able to beat up the kid. She was willing to beat up a bunch of children, but then she didn't get her hands dirty against these Frobos.
Yeah, that was a little odd
Yeah,
that
maybe it was off
Hop
screen.
did more fighting than Olivia did, but I mean, I'll just let it slide for now. Hop is a bit more of an important character than Olivia, so I get why they showed him fighting, but not her.
Oh, are we gonna talk about speaking of Olivia, are we gonna talk about Oliver?
Okay, I mean, what's there even to say? I mean, look, it was clearly a mistake by one of the animation studios. They got the wrong character sheet in or something, and nobody noticed.
For one frame.
Yeah,
Are you guys talking about Oliver?
we are talking about Oliver.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
For those of you who don't know, during for one frame, of the episode, Olivia has been replaced by a random background newt from the new Turk, and he's just kind of standing there. It's just a weird mistake that they didn't catch. I'm sure it's not too hard to find the memes. We have taken to calling him Oliver because he's male Olivia. That's the joke. That's the
Oh,
reason why.
well, I thought he was called Oliver because he just reminds me of like Oliver Twist.
I thought it was because he was a male replacement for Olivia. I don't actually know now. I just assumed that was
That
what it
that make I'm sure that's the reason why. I just his hat and his like shirt, plain shirt, like makes him look like I don't know.
You guys went ham with the Oliver jokes when the delay was still going on, huh?
Yeah, we made a lot of Oliver jokes about how Oliver caused the delay.
Yeah, we were left in the dark for 3 weeks.
Look, we had to cope somehow, Lemur.
I get it. I get it.
Is there what else is? I feel like we've actually discussed most of it besides.
The ending.
Well,
We
yeah,
always
the
discuss-
impl. I mean, we've talked a lot about Marcy getting stabbed, but
Come
the
on.
only thing we haven't really talked
Wait.
that much about is the fact that Anne's back.
Yeah.
Well, wait.
Flavors.
Before that, do we talk about like how the castle just
Like, he has a
took
spaceship?
off and has a yeah, and we talked about in the chat, but we didn't talk about here about how I even forgot to mention the giant gun on top of the
Oh
castle.
my god.
I mean, I
I mean
assume
that
that anyone watching this has already seen the episode.
Yeah.
I don't think they'll
Yeah.
forget
Yeah.
the flying castle of the giant laser cannon.
I just
Yeah.
this is where you start to get more of the Laputa castle in the sky references besides Frobo early on in season 2.
Oh,
So I'm just yeah, you can see the Ghibli the
solid.
Ghibli Zelda references all like thrown into the show.
Want to point out that you're also right again with the whole laser thing.
Yeah, but okay, yeah, I did call the laser thing, but it looked a lot like a laser cannon. What can I say?
I think it just looks like a peak.
Yeah, that the trigger, like that long thing sticking out, like that's very like we were all wondering like what's the point of that, and then like it's basically a trigger or like the releasing mechanism.
Yeah. No,
It's a nice detail.
the animation for the cannon firing was pretty cool, and I do hope we get to see a little bit more of that before it inevitably gets disabled in time for the final fight. I
I
will
mean,
say,
yeah, that's the. Oh, go ahead, PC.
I will say that the existence of that giant ass cannon does make the only viable place for the rebellion to like exist is going to be in Frog Valley since it has mountains protecting it from the giant death laser.
Yes,
So
I
that
think
castle flies over the mountains and brings the giant death laser. But yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, look, maybe
like
the castle just can't fly that high.
yeah.
like the when we saw the episode, like I know we're far, like we're a long way off from season 3, but like I feel like that like the fact that Frog Valley is concealed by the actually
The
okay, PC,
mountains.
finish my thought. I'll be right back.
Well, I mean, I believe what he was saying is that the fact that Frog Valley is concealed from the rest of Amphibia by a ring of mountains, and that ring of mountains is very high and like explicitly said to be incredibly cold and dangerous to cross. It makes Frog Valley an incredibly important place going into season 3 with, we know Sasha is going to keep the rebellion going, and I mean, Frog Valley is really the only place where that can happen.
Yeah. Like, I think this is paying off. This is paying off the plot point that has been unplaced in season 1, where the Frog Revolution that has been taking place. But then,
Yeah, absolutely.
yeah. But like in season 3, it's gonna reach fever pitch in that point. We're actually going to see the Frog Rebellion there.
Yeah,
Popular Front.
and also to a lesser extent, the Southern Towers in Frog Valley, which is always good.
Yeah. There's still 3 towers left from what I recall. East, West, and South. Because North is now dead.
Yeah. Although you never know with Aldo, he was pretty much already dead. So.
For the entire everyone in the North Tower's dead.
Well, what I'm saying is Aldo was already pretty much a corpse.
Extra dead, double dead.
But you cannot kill it. Anyway. Yeah. Yeah, no real closure for Grime and Sasha.
No, I mean, that'll be season 3.
Yeah, that'll be season 3.
Yeah, I want to point out, like, again, with the persistent. She's going to be like, she's going to lead the Amphibious last stand, I guess, from from Andreas's reign.
Yeah.
I think
Sasha is absolutely going to be going into season 3 I guess the main human protagonist for Amphibia, because she's the only one left, to be fair.
Yeah. And
I do think, and this is getting a bit into the intro, but everyone's seen it. It's literally after the main release. I really do think that we're going to be getting some Marcy versus Sasha fights in Amphibia, and I look forward to that a lot.
yeah. Well, I don't think this has been mentioned yet, and if it is, sorry for being repetitive, but I mentioned before that someone before said that why the lessons from the temple aren't applied so far in the show. Well, not applied, but like they're not really that relevant to the episodes that they appeared on, like the temple episodes. I think, but my thoughts on that is because the lessons that the girls learned from all 3 temples are going to play in future episodes, and now we're seeing it right now. Like, it's going to play on season 3.
Oh yeah,
Marcy learned humility Marcy learned humility once again, by paying the ultimate price to save her friends, and saying sorry for everything that she has done. And Anne learns responsibility because she is now going to be the sole protector of her world from Andreas's forces. And Sasha is going to learn persistence for being the leaders, for being one of the leaders of the persisting Frog Rebellion.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I think in Anna Akana's interview with Matt, like she mentioned that like Sasha's a leader, but just needs to like learn compassion, right? So like now
Yeah,
that she's like, oh yeah, go ahead, Lemur. Like,
no, I was going to say like now that she's the leader, she's going to learn compassion to other people. And what better place to learn compassion than in Wartwood? Yeah, she's going to learn a lot about being empathetic and being a better person in general in season 3.
for sure. Like with her separated from like, I think what was the last thing Anne said to Sasha? Oh wait, no. I was thinking. I thought that Anne and Anne and Sasha's last conversation was like at the very beginning of True Colors, but then I remember Anne like Anne asked Sasha, "Oh, you have my back," and then Sasha's like, "Yeah, I do, whatever."
Yeah,
But like,
that's the last thing that's the last thing I remember them saying to each other. The "you do have my back" thing. After
Sasha
that, it
said,
was just mainly fighting. The big the big Super Saiyan moment.
It's
And then
not
the
a human
the
thing.
last thing that Sasha says to Anne is, "We'll hold him off. Just go."
yeah, I was going to point that out.
And Anne does not say anything in return. So those were the last words exchanged between them.
Well, at least they trust each other now. It's not fully, but it's because they have a bigger issue to deal with.
Yeah, Andres is kind of Andres is definitely passing the Godzilla threshold.
Yeah.
Like he is the greater threat.
Also makes the reconciliation between Anne and Sasha a lot easier.
I mean, I don't think they've reconciled yet.
Well, yeah, they haven't reconciled, but now they're like on equal goal. Like they're now on equal grounds with each other.
Yeah, I agree. It is helpful to their path forward that they now have a common enemy.
Yeah.
I agree, though, that obviously this isn't done yet, that Sasha still needs to make amends. And it'll be hard for Anne to trust her, even more so now.
But hopefully,
yeah, I think
mean, I'm not too worried about that because I think Sasha is going to be learning a lot of lessons on her own, having to help people fight against Andreas. So
And like,
I think
yeah,
I think that by the time Anne and Sasha reunite, Sasha will have grown into a new and better person.
Yeah.
but I do think that once Anne gets a little bit of downtime with Sasha, even if Sasha has become like a better person, like Anne is going to like need time to adjust to that.
Yeah.
I think she's going to be like apologetic by that time because Ward would really grown to her by that point.
Yeah.
Who needs therapy when you have Wartwood?
Yeah.
Yes.
So
I mean, I think
Final scene, then.
I guess.
Yeah, final scene.
I guess we get to talk about that.
I mean, like I said, Marcy gets stabbed. We all saw it. We all know what happens. We've all
we all bared witness.
discussed it. Yeah, we've all discussed it. I don't really know how much more there else is to say about that particular scene, to be honest.
Well,
I mean,
I'm talking about the final.
Yeah, the final scene where they got transported back to Earth.
Yeah, I will say, I really do like the use of framing and windowing in that scene where when they first land on the car and they're looking through the windshield at the people in the car, you can see that there's a home moving. There's like a moving truck parked behind the car they landed on, and through the back you can just see the word home, like perfectly framed
Yeah.
in the back windshield. and that's just good shit. That's just good cinematography, Matt. And I know you're never going to hear this, but I want you to know that I saw that and I appreciate the shit out of that touch.
Yeah, they're home now. Well, Anne's home. The planners are farther from home than they've ever been.
I never thought that we would actually explore Earth in this series because we thought that it's just been exclusively about Amphibia, but now,
Well, like I thought, with the way that the show was like, going through like the trip to Utopia and like the Temple Quest all in this season, like I thought that we were going to see another dimension at the end of this season, or not see another dimension. I thought the episode would end on them getting teleported. I just never expected like Earth of all places. I thought we'd see like one of those those worlds that Andrew showed in his book, where like the flaming world or
I certainly thought the
Mossman
girls would
world.
all go
I
together.
never thought
or
we'd
not
get
at
back
all.
to Earth until the finale.
yeah,
I'd raise the possibility, but like I thought it was going to be three girls. I mean, I'd always said that it would be fun to see how the planners would react to Earth, but I thought that would be the whole premise of the third season.
yeah, like you brought that back all the way when we talk about the first temple. You mentioned how season 3 is going to open about them being on Earth. I just never thought that would actually happen.
But the circumstances were. I thought it was going to be all three of the girls went home, but
Or
then they
something,
needed to
yeah.
go back because they
Yeah.
wanted to save the planners or Grime or whatever. Not
You know, this was a real
separation.
curveball. This was a real curveball, and
Yeah.
the
And
crew
I
has
have to say, I
proven.
respect the
Yeah.
hell out of the Amphibia crew for going for it.
Yeah,
Because like
these guys are ace right now.
stabbing a main character is bold for a Disney show, but like completely changing the setting and premise of your show for the final season
I don't know. I
is
mean,
bold
that's
for
not
any show.
that's not actually that. On a lot of DTVA shows change their premise for the last season. Like, well, I mean, okay, I'm gonna say it. I'm gonna say the word. Star Versus also did that.
Well, not it was for the last two.
Yeah.
They
Okay.
flipped
For the
after
last two.
Well, for third season.
Yeah, so at the end of season 2,
Yeah.
for the third season, they flipped the setting.
which
And it's
not to-
happened in other things. So it's not out of the blue. It's just not something I ever thought that they'd do, to be honest. It's because Amphibia is just so, I mean, centered on Amphibia.
Yeah. But
But,
the
I
fact
the show is now called Southern California.
that yeah.
Unfortunately, there is stuff that I want to say, but that's all relating to the intro, and I know that we're saving that discussion for another time.
Yeah. But
Yeah,
I'm just
because
I'm
that deserves its own conversation. I think, yeah.
It really does. I just never thought that we're actually going to get to explore Earth. Like, we've been denied of Earth content for so long. Like, Earth has been like a mystery to us for so long. So the fact that we're actually going to explore Earth in the final season is like, it's like
Lima, you
mind
live
blowing
on
to
Earth.
me. No, not you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's gonna be great. It's gonna be fantastic.
It is gonna be fantastic.
So we're gonna see the planters living in the big city.
Big city amphibia.
And
It's
and I'm sure the storyboard artists will have an easier time, or maybe we'll get season 3 faster since they're drawing their backyard.
I don't know. Actually, I wouldn't be surprised. The some of the city. Okay, a little bit in the intro. So the backgrounds that you see in the intro are really complicated. Like, and the character. I can't talk about it, but I wouldn't be surprised if the designs for backgrounds and characters get even more complicated on Earth than they do in Amphibia.
even in the ending alone, like Earth looks complex to.
I think it's actually really, I think it's a really interesting way of doing it because Amphibia, it is a swamp, but it definitely feels like a lot more open. While
Mm-hmm.
even just that one shot in
There's so much going
It's
on.
very dense.
it's very
Yeah.
dense. It's almost claustrophobic. Everything's so tightly packed together. And there's just such a great contrast between the two worlds. Like even Newtopia, the biggest city, didn't really feel as dense as that one shot of Earth did.
It might be actually possible that there would be so much more things to explore on Los Angeles than in the world of Amphibia itself.
Well, I
that
don't know
may-
about that.
That may
but-
be, yeah, that may be hyperbole, but like in the terms of like details of the settings is what I mean.
See, I was planning. I did have a bunch of speculation planned because I knew we were doing this, but then the friggin' season 3 intro dropped, and I just want to talk about that.
Yeah, that really back to square one.
I mean, I have speculation now, but it's speculation actually based on something.
I really am curious about the speculations you guys had when before the season 3 intro dropped.
Well, I mean, before it,
It wasn't
before
much,
that,
but it was like I guess before we got what we did, it was more like, okay, they're back on Earth. What are their steps to get back? And is Anne going to see her parents before she goes back to Amphibia? But then now it's like a whole other thing.
Yeah, no, there was a lot more focus on our speculation side about like how they were going to get back to Amphibia and less about what they were actually going to do on Earth. But the intro has made it clear a lot of stuff is going to be happening on Earth.
Oh my god. I can't wait for next week, man. I just want to talk about it.
I know. I guess the big question going into season 3 is how much what percentage of Earth to Amphibia episodes are we getting? Because
That's a good question.
That's the big question.
I mean, if they're willing to put in the vast majority of that intro is on Earth, and
I mean,
yeah.
I feel like they will. I feel like most of the episodes will be on Earth, but I think there's gonna have to be some Amphibia episodes for sure.
Yeah, particularly Sasha, because they need to develop her character fast.
Well, I don't think
And
they need to develop her character any faster than they have been. I think her character's gone through solid development so far.
Well,
They just need to do it. They just need to, do it.
Yeah, like what
Keep on chugging.
Yeah.
Keep
I
on
meant,
keeping
like-
on.
and there's also the question of how much you
Sorry.
could do on Earth before you bring in elements of Amphibia into it. And if you're bringing elements into Amphibia into Earth, what's going to be the bridge between Amphibia and Earth to have those
Presumably
events
the
happen on
box.
Earth? Yes, the Buck, but what is? Oh man, this is also speculation for next week. Oh, I can't.
Yeah, see, that's the problem. There's not much more we can talk about without stepping on the toes of the next episode.
question is, how are they going to balance this in 20 half hours?
Again, that's.
I think it's
for next
doable.
week.
I think
It's doable. It's doable.
Yeah, it is
That's-
doable.
That's for next week.
All right.
Yeah. So I think, are we ready to wrap up?
I think
Yeah,
is that everything?
I think I've said pretty much all I can.
Yeah.
Yo, Thumb, you there? All right, Thumb has. Well, I guess in the meantime, any last thoughts Oh, he's gone.
Oh, he's gone. Well, wait, here's back.
Well, his audio bot should still be recording.
Yeah, like we're still So
Okay.
Oh, thank goodness.
I mean, is there anything else you guys want to?
Well, I think we.
Is
I
there
think
anything
we
else we
covered
need to
pretty much
cover?
everything. I think we pretty much covered everything.
I feel like we've covered. We've done a lot of talking, and we've covered pretty much. We've covered. I mean, there is always more stuff we could be talking about, but honestly, I feel like we've covered all the main beats.
Yeah, all the main elements.
So I guess we'll call it a night then.
Yeah, I mean, anyone
sure.
have any
Yeah.
final statements they want to make on True Colors?
So I
True
guess
Colors
starting with
story.
Limo. Oh, sorry. Okay, starting with Uzbeks. Do you
Oh,
want
sorry.
to like what are your final thoughts on this episode? Like, how do you feel?
Great finale. Tragic in a lot of areas in a good way. Yeah. So see y'all.
Lemur, what were your thoughts on this finale?
I don't think like even this podcast can really sum up how truly amazing this episode is. I've said this before and I'll state it again. True Colors might possibly be one of the greatest episodes that Disney television animation has ever produced. And that's saying something because they already did one of them this March. It is everything I've wanted and more. And it's basically almost perfect. It's the perfect season finale, and it's an amazing feat for DTVA, and it really pushed their boundaries so much. I'm so happy about how it turned out. I'm so happy that I waited 4 weeks for this. It is totally worth it. And Matt and the crew should be very much proud for this episode. Really hope the release of this episode went as planned. But what we still got is easily trumps the weight and the pain that we have to go through. I'm very much looking forward to seeing the final chapter of Amphibia.
All right, thank you, Lemur. And PC, what are your final thoughts on this episode?
I mean, I know this this is not going to be a surprise, but absolutely fantastic episode. Definitely a contender for one of the best things DTVA has put out in a very long time. An excellent escalation of themes and stakes from the previous season finale that has been built up to naturally over the course of the last 2 seasons. And I think above all, it is a demonstration of Matt Braley and the crew's willingness to do whatever it takes to tell the story they want to tell. And that is something I only have respect for.
All right, thank you, PC. And yeah, like I love this finale. Like the show is definitely like taking a risk with the direction they're going in, but like I have faith in that. I believe they can pull it off. Like they've already built like they've done they've done a lot of great work building this world, building the characters. So like I'm confident that they'll pull off whatever they have planned next. Like they definitely have a plan of where they want to go and where they want how the story to end. So I'm just in it for the like I'm tagging along for the ride and seeing where it takes me. It takes all of us. So
Yeah.
I guess
think
with that, I guess well. Oh, you want to say something, Lemur?
I just want to say that I think Amphibia is slowly but surely on its way to becoming one of the best shows in in DTVA's library. Like, it's
For sure.
really, yeah, it's really etching. It's really creeping in on the top tier territory.
So I guess well, that pretty much concludes this week's episode. Thank you all for tuning in, and we'll see you next time. Say goodnight, everyone.
Good night.